Got it, here's your 1,000-word story in the revenge realm style. Asterisk, they said I'd ruin the family name. I still remember the dinner table that night. The smell of overcooked roast, the clink of forks against plates, the way no one would meet my eyes until my father finally spoke. So, you're telling us you're quitting your job to make video games? He said it like the words themselves were contagious. My mother's lips tightened, my sister laughed, not a playful laugh but the sharp kind that cuts. God, you'll be 30 soon and you want to be what? A gamer? That's embarrassing. The rest joined in, each stab disguised as concern. You're throwing your life away. No one makes money from that unless they're lucky. You'll regret this when you're broke and crawling back. Every sentence was a brick in the wall they were building around me, a wall meant to keep me in the life they approved of. Stable job, predictable future, no risks, I tried to explain. I told them about the ideas in my head, the stories I wanted to tell through worlds no one had seen before. I told them how I'd been coding at night for months, how I'd saved enough to survive for a while, but they didn't hear me. By the time dessert came, I wasn't their son anymore. I was a cautionary tale they'd write in their heads long before I'd even failed. That night I packed my things, no dramatic shouting, no slamming doors, just silence. I promised myself I'd never beg them for help. I would leave, prove them wrong, and return only when I had something undeniable. The first year was brutal. I lived in a tiny studio above a laundromat where the hum of dryers became the soundtrack to my nights. I worked part-time at a coffee shop during the day, then coded until sunrise. My first game was a disaster, buggy, confusing, barely downloaded by anyone. I felt their voices crawling back into my head. You'll regret this. You'll troll back. But I didn't, I learned, I rebuilt. The second game did better, not great but better, enough to keep going. I taught myself marketing. I studied player feedback like scripture. I learned to take every criticism as fuel, every failure as a step forward. There were days I wanted to give up, nights I stared at the ceiling, wondering if my family was right. But then I'd remember the way my father's eyes had narrowed when I told him my dream, not with concern but with disbelief. That disbelief became my fire. It took 5 years. 5 years of sleeping on floors at gaming conventions because I couldn't afford hotels. 5 years of rejection emails from publishers. 5 years of selling my own furniture to fund the next project. And then, it happened. The game that changed everything wasn't even the one I thought would. A little indie project born from my frustration and stubbornness exploded online. Streamers played it. Reviewers called it a masterpiece of storytelling. Players wrote to me saying it changed their lives. Within months, I was making more money than I'd ever dreamed. I hired a team. We won awards. My name, the one they'd scoffed at, was on headlines in magazines and whispered in conversations at industry events. Every success was sweet, but none sweeter than knowing I had done it without them. Last month, I was invited back to my hometown for a local business gala. They wanted me to speak about entrepreneurship, about chasing dreams. I said yes, not for the gala, but for what came after. I hadn't seen my family in 7 years. When I arrived, the town looked smaller. My parents' house looked exactly the same peeling paint on the porch, same wind chime that clanged too loudly. I knocked. My mother opened the door. For a moment she didn't recognize me. My hair was different, my clothes sharper. Success changes the way you carry yourself. Oh, she said finally, it's you. Inside, everyone was there, my father, my sister, a few cousins. The air was heavy with unspoken years. We sat in the same dining room where they'd once dismantled my dream piece by piece. My father cleared his throat. So, we saw you on TV. You've done well. I didn't answer immediately. I let the silence stretch, let them feel the weight of it. Then I reached into my bag and placed a small velvet box on the table. Inside was a gold medal from the biggest gaming award in the world, my name engraved in it. This, I said quietly, is from the night my team and I won Game of the Year, the same night you said I'd embarrass the family. No one spoke. My sister's eyes flicked to the medal, then back to me, then down to her plate. You didn't ruin the family name, my father said finally, voice low. You did the opposite. I leaned back in my chair. I didn't do it for the family name. I did it because you told me I couldn't. Later that night, I stepped outside. The wind was cold, sharp. I looked at the house, the same house where I'd been told to stay small, stay safe, and I realized something. I wasn't here for their approval anymore. I had outgrown the need. But still, it felt good to have them see what I'd become, not because I needed their validation, but because the boy who left with nothing deserved this moment. I slid the medal back into its box, tucked it under my arm, and walked away. My footsteps were steady, certain I wasn't the failure they'd predicted. I was the proof they'd been wrong, and I didn't need to look back to know they'd never forget it. Would you like me to also create a shorter, punchier version of this story in the exact pacing style Revenge Realm uses for their YouTube narration? That style is more rapid fire with cliffhanger pauses, perfect for social media.